In the late 80s, this woman went for a jog in New York. She was later found severely beaten, so bad that she was barely holding on to life. She was even in a coma for almost 2 weeks. Now, this case rocked the city. People wanted answers fast, and they wanted harsh judgment even faster, which put a lot of pressure on the NYPD. One of the members of the Attorney District's office has an idea. You see, the local police already had a group of a few young Black and Latino men in their custody from a commotion that happened at the park earlier, not too far away from where that jogger's body was found. And so they decided to question them. Scratch that. They decided to frame them. You see, detectives would isolate the boys and held them up for up to 30 hours without food, without sleep, and without legal counsel. And they began to manipulate them by saying things like, hey, the boys in the other room are saying, that was you. You were the one who raped and mauled that woman. Or, hey, two of the boys are saying that that other kid did it. If you agree and say that, it only helps your case and we can get you out of here. Now, the boys mentioned from the very beginning that they had nothing to do with this. But now 30 hours later, starved, stressed, and scared out of their minds, the detectives are successful at getting them to implicate each other. And despite the police saying that if they confessed, they could go home, that was a lie, and they were promptly arrested. And at the boys' trial, they said that it was coerced. They were forced to confess, which, by the way, at their trial, something very important happens. That jogger who was in a coma wakes up, but she says her brain's too foggy. She can't remember if the boys were truly the ones who did it or if they were innocent. There was DNA evidence at the crime scene that was introduced at trial, and it turns out that it didn't match any of the boys. But they were on camera confessing to the crime. And so to the jury, that DNA evidence wasn't all that relevant. And so they were found guilty and sentenced to prison. This case was so famous that a celebrity published an ad calling for the death penalty to be brought back for this case specifically. That celebrity was Donald Trump. After several long years in prison where they faced violence and torture by other inmates and guards, a miracle happens. This man, who was in jail for another rape, came out and admitted that he was the one who attacked the jogger on that night. He said he acted alone, and that DNA evidence was a match. In light of this, the one youth who was still in jail because of his age was released. Their convictions were overturned, and they went from being known as the Central Park Five to the Exonerated Five. They also received $41 million in compensation for damages. And despite this story of their exoneration barely getting the attention, especially compared to their conviction, and police not being held responsible, they focused most of their adulthood on community involvement, criminal justice reform, and inspiring youth. One of them even successfully ran for office and is now serving on the New York City Council.